How's it going, nerds? Good to see you. Welcome back to Nerdy Bay. Welcome back to City Skylines. I certainly hope you have a good one. I'm excited to be back. It is, for me, directly after the recording of that last episode, so I've not had a chance to see any feedback on that one just yet, but I'll thank you for it anyway, because you're lovely, and I'm sure it was great. Don't make me regret that. The good news is I find something to clean my glasses with. So, you know, I'm gonna just do that real quick like a professional, doing it live and all that, and we are good to go. They are somehow still absolutely filthy. Great. The one thing that has changed since that last episode, though, I'm sure you can see it, is gonna be this beautiful intersection right here, which I just got done building. It took all the money that we had saved up. And I say saved up, I mean all the money we got in the space of a couple of minutes, because we're making nearly $4 grand every week. I say that, we're making over $3 grand. We're not nearly, we're getting towards $4 grand. We'll get there eventually. Good news is that it should be no time at all before we're able to do this absolute abomination. We'll call it what it is. It's going to be an abomination of highways, but I'm excited. I'm genuinely a little excited to see how this plays out. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm also realizing I need to change these roads a little bit to make them reflect what they should be, because traffic going in here shouldn't be the primary like thing for this. So what we're gonna do is make these sections here into 2 lanes, and we're gonna make this into a 2-lane road as well. And then these guys over here are going to have 3 lanes, because that's going to be the main bit of highway that continues after all this is said and done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the simulation run. I need to remember to do that. I'm getting so bad at that. I had a phase, and I swear it wasn't just a phase, all right? It wasn't just a phase. I'm learning. It's the way I am. I had a phase where I got really good at leaving the simulation running while I would do things. I've reverted. I've gone back on my phase, and I need to get back into that phase where I let the simulation run when I'm doing things, because if I don't, nothing ever gets done. And on top of that, you get death waves, which actually, mentioning death waves has just reminded me that we did unlock the Child Health Center and the Elder Care Center, and I feel like these exist. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, we got the trolley bus. Okay. Okay, we also got the old time policy, but the trolley bus is big. Sorry, the trolley bus is big. I've played a little bit with the trolley bus, and I'm kind of keen to see what I can do with it, because I've not given it a proper shot. We also just got all of the stuff from the modern Japanese city pack as well, which is really cool. So I'm excited for that. We got the proper hospital. We got some skyscrapers. That's going to be so good to make a proper downtown area. We'll do that in a little bit, because trolley buses are big. But we were talking about these healthcare things. I feel like they exist to combat death waves, because the Child Health Center increases the birth rate and offers health services to children and teens within its radius. The Elder Care Center extends the lifespan of the elderly within the radius of the building. So if you put a few of these down, you could sort of extend the lifespan of people in certain areas of your city to sort of counter death waves, which is pretty cool. Anyway, what I want to do is go ahead and just make sure the terrain is nice and level here. I want to go ahead and I want to bring this avenue out a little bit further to about there. And essentially, we're going to do exactly the same thing that we've done before. We're going to bring this up to about here. And we're going to go from here. We're going to go 10, 11, 12. We're actually going to bulldoze. Yeah, we're going to bulldoze you for a second. So that's a nice line there. We're going to go 10, 11, 12. And we want to elevate this, and I need to make sure my steps are all right down here at the bottom left. So 10, 11, 12, and up, and then connect it. And the reason we go 12 is because this is another thing that I get asked a few times. Obviously, last time I taught you about units, and I told you this time I'd teach you about something else. So, if I go 10 units and I elevate, no problem. Nice straight slope. If I go 11, no problem. 12, no problem. Nice straight slope. But if I go 13, look what happens. You get that flat bit, and then you get the elevated bit, and it's quite sudden. So 12 units is the maximum that you can go with an elevated step, I guess, before you get that flat bit. So that's why we do 12. So 12 there, and then let me see what I did over here. So we went the 12, we went 12, and then we did 810 worth. So let's see what we're looking at here. 810 brings us to that spot. And then that means we bring this over, we bring that out to the same distance. And then I just need to use some regular roads to get this to work. So we go in, we do this, we turn it into a highway, which apparently can't be done. Why can that not be done? Space already occupied. Interesting. So that's not gonna work. That's kind of strange. Space already occupied. Okay. Well, let's rotate that around a little bit and see if I can do it this time. Is it gonna let me? So there and there. So that works, but then there we go. So upgrading work. That's very strange the way it does that sometimes. But that is going to be another connection to the highway, which I think is going to be really important. So that's going to let traffic in and out of the city from this side. That I think is going to be really useful for industry as well. And I'm tempted to say that we give the industry sort of a dedicated connection to that avenue right there, so they can kind of get onto the avenue and head out this way a little bit quicker. That's why I want to do this. I want to have a bunch of these connections. I mean, they're not the most efficient and they will cause traffic problems, but I think if I have enough of them, we can totally make this work. That's my hope. That's what I want to do. I want to have enough of these so that it just works. That's a tall order for me in City Skylines, but I think I can do it. I think. We did get that Old Town policy though, so let's go ahead around all of our districts and just set Old Town on every single one of them, so traffic is not gonna go through the districts to get anywhere. They will use the main roads that we have set out, which is exactly what we want it doing. We don't want traffic going, you know, through Linden Heights to get to Franklin Park. You gotta go out onto the main road and go from there. Although technically that's a bad example, because technically you could, if you were in Linden Heights, sort of go through it to get to Franklin Park, but you get the idea. We don't want them going through places they shouldn't be going through. They gotta be using the avenues and the main roads and all that stuff, so that's what we're gonna force them to do. I've also realized I could have just had... Yeah, I could have done this differently. I could have just had this be the connection to that avenue and then had this push straight through, but apparently I decided that the highway had to do this for some reason. I'm an idiot, is what I'm saying, but we've done it. I'm not refunding it. It's gonna do the job. Let's go ahead and see if we can get some more residential in here, because we do have some demand for it. When do we get high density stuff? I always forget this. 6,500 people. Is that the next milestone? That is the next milestone. We also get campuses, we get taxation policies, we get another tile, we get IT clusters, we get a lot of things. We get the incineration plant, we get toll booths, we get the metro. Oh, that's good. I'm looking forward to metro. I'm really looking forward to metro. We also get intercity buses. Okay, we need 6,500 people. So what I'm thinking we can do here is basically fill up a lot of the space that we haven't done anything with thus far. So fill up these spaces here off the side of this former industrial area with just a bunch more residential. I can put some stuff on the avenue as well to kind of fill that in a little bit, because what I'm thinking we do is something kind of like this and something kind of like this, so that road is nicely lined with commercial, which usually I try not to do, and I always get a lot of people who will ask me, you know, why don't you put commercial on avenues? And my thinking there, at the very least, is because I imagine, and I've never bothered to test this, and I've never bothered to verify this, so it might not happen, but I would imagine that commercial on avenues would be worse for the avenue. I would imagine it would create a lot of traffic for an avenue, and I don't really know if I want to do that, because I mean, I joke about it, but I am really bad at managing traffic in City Skylines, and you know, I'm trying to get better, and I'm always trying to learn, and I'm a firm believer in the idea you should always be learning. Whatever you're doing, you always need to learn something new. So I do try and get better at traffic management in City Skylines, but it's a struggle. The fact of the matter is, I am bad at it, and maybe one day I'll get better, but right now, you know, it is not gonna be this day. That's the point, right? Also, I'm gonna totally do that, because that's gonna fill in that space really nicely. But yeah, I've never bothered to check and see if I'm actually, right in my theory that having commercial zoning on an avenue would create more traffic, and I should probably test that. That would be an interesting video to test and see, like actually measure the flow of traffic and see if commercial zoning affected at all, because if it doesn't, then essentially I've been just chatting a lot of for the last couple of years, because I've been saying that for years. That could be I could be completely wrong. Sorry, it's just hit me. It's just like genuinely, I'm just having a moment here where I'm realizing that I've never, like, a belief that I hold dear in city skylines, the whole idea of don't put commercial on avenues is potentially, it's based on nothing. It's based on absolutely nothing at all. So yeah, that's weird. That's a bit weird to think about, is what it is. Anyway, moving on from that, I'm thinking that I want to turn one of these roads in here into an avenue, and I'm thinking this one up the middle here would probably be the best candidate for it. So let's just do that. Let's put some trees on it. This road here is just going to be an avenue up to that spot, essentially, and I'm thinking this whole area probably needs turned into a series of districts at this point. So what I think I'm going to do is bring it over this way. We can use the highway to help with it a little bit and bring it down to, oh, actually no, we probably don't want Linden Heights going all the way up there. Yeah, we probably don't want that happening at all. So Linden Heights is actually going to be that space, and it's going to be cut off about there, right? So my thinking for Linden Heights is that it will, it's not going to be any of this. All of that's going to go, right? And that'll be Linden Heights. And then what we could do is have this road not be part of Linden Heights either. This road wouldn't be part of Franklin Park. And then all this space in here will be something else. So this would all be sort of its own district at this point that wraps the whole way around into there. It's not going to necessarily need an old time policy because it doesn't have a way through to anywhere. It can only be accessed by the avenue that we just built. So that can just be its own thing, essentially. And I'll go in and obviously tidy it up. I don't want it on the highways. I don't want it on the avenue over there. But that seems fine to me. So Walnut Park is going to be the new area. Linden Heights has been extended, and Franklin Park is just tiny at this point, which is fine by me. We are having some garbage problems though, and I imagine that road's gonna get pretty bad, but that's not gonna be the end of the world. I think in terms of the garbage problems, we could extend a little road into here. So we could do something like, let's see, something like this. I think that'll be okay. So something like this, and a little something like, let's see, let's go to there, and let's go to there. Then we'll put some paths in there. We'll keep those in because I do, like I said, I love myself some paths in here. But I think what we'll do is we take out that little bit of industry, bring some commercial into there, a little bit of industry. Oh, my internet's done. Sorry, I've just completely lost track of what I was saying. My internet just died. I mean, it didn't. The hub thing that opens when your internet dies, loaded and was like, you're fine. So I've got no idea. No idea. To be fair, the internet in general is kind of under heavy load everywhere these days, so it could just be that. I'm pretty sure my ISP's been having some trouble, but that's whatever. I'm just noticing though that I've got a lot of room here to do more things with paths. So I want a little path through there, for example, and I think a little path through there could be kind of interesting too, and maybe here as well, just because I can. And I think I'm gonna do here as well, because there's a crosswalk there. We get paths down here, a bit more industry. We've got water in that space already. So let's just let all that build. It'll boost the population kind of nicely. We actually have a lot of money as well. So let's go ahead and extend these highways over here while we have the chance to do so. Basically, while we have the money to do so. So we'll do, really? That's already occupied? Oh. What height am I working with here? So that works. Let's redo this for a second. So you, oh, that's too close together. Hold on a minute. So you're coming out to, you're gonna go to there. Or what way do I want to do this? I don't want weird bumps in my highway. That's the tricky part without having, you know, not having mods. It's a little tricky to not have these weird bumps in your highway. But that's relatively level, so that can go across. And then this needs to go to there. And then we want to lower that down and then connect it to there. And that's relatively level. That's not bad. That'll definitely do the job. And then what we can do is just bring this out to here. We'll turn on road guidelines, get a nice measurement and go back to there. And again, relatively level. It's not perfect, but it does the job. And what I'm thinking I might do is, and I might regret this, but I might throw another one of these intersections about there, maybe a little bit further along, and then push it straight through to this avenue down here. Because I just get the feeling that it wouldn't be a bad idea. And I'm sure those amongst you that hate what I'm doing with these avenues will be watching this and just head in hands, just wondering why I'm doing this. But I just have a feeling. I have a feeling that this will, in the long run, you know, having more and more and more of these weird intersections will work out for me. All right. I'm willing to take this chance. I'm willing to do this experiment so you don't have to. Really, I'm just doing a public service. It's just that simple. I'm just science. Right? I think that's the word the kids use these days, is science. So that's what this series is. This isn't just a regular City Skyline series. This is science. This is experimentation. This is hypothesis. I'm basically throwing scientific words here and seeing what'll stick, but nonetheless, I'm just curious. All right, it's as simple as that. I'm genuinely just curious to see what happens here. So let's bring this into here. Let's go off of here, I want to say. I think it's that spot we want to go off of. Actually, that is actually a straight line. So 10, 11, 12, and up to, oh, hold on a minute. We want to do this with the proper step up. So that's 12. Let's turn off guidelines to do this so it's measured properly. 11, 12, up to there, connect to there. You want to go to there. You want to go, this one's going to be a little bit smaller, I think. Maybe. This one might have to be a little bit smaller. We've already got traffic using it though, which is good news. So let's bring this out. And yeah, I think this one's going to have to be considerably smaller, is what it's going to have to be. So let's get ourselves the little curve going here, which I think is like a 3x2 or whatever it is. But we do that, and there we go. Traffic can now use this to get into the city, which is kind of a big deal. I think it's kind of a big deal. I think we could also probably go in here and do some smoothing, because what I've done to this terrain is unforgivable. So let's just gradually sort of smooth this terrain out a little bit. We've got some good, you know, definition going on there, and that looks a bit steep, but I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious. It's another good connection for industry as well. So if they want to get out to the highway, they can totally do that. If they want to use this to get to another part of the city, they can totally do that. I think it's cool. I think it's interesting, and it's giving us blocks, and it's giving us areas to build in to make this all nice and dense, which is kind of what I want. Also, that is very on fire. That is very, very on fire right now. Oh, the fire department got it. Good. What's our fire coverage looking like right now? Healthcare is not so great. Fire is worse. I always do this. I always forget about fire coverage until things are burning actively. So let's maybe do a little fire station here. I think that might be a good idea. So something right there to cover that area nicely. Policing is generally okay. That's one thing I've noticed with City Skylines is policing you don't really need to worry about. Healthcare exists. I want to say healthcare exists. It does. Not very well, but it exists. And I mean, we could get some child health in here. We could get some elder care in here. I'm thinking we're going to do... Let's do a bit of elder care. Maybe. Oh, wait, you know, the thing... oh, no. I don't know if I want to say that. I'm saying it. Speaking of elder care, we don't have death care. That's what my brain thought. But it's true. We don't have death care. So it's a horrible thing to say, but sometimes the truth hurts. Why can you see my microphone? Has that been there this whole time? Has that been that close to me for the last 2 episodes? I swear. It's supposed... Anyway, moving swiftly on. We have a lot of demand for residential right now. So let's go ahead and start getting that sorted. We can probably build... I mean, we could build a little area in here if we really wanted to, which I'm going to be honest, I kind of like the idea of doing. So do we want to do it like this, or do I want to just use a normal road for this? I think I'm going to use a normal road for this. I don't know if this should be residential though. This might have to be something else, but we'll use sort of a normal road for it. And I think what I'm going to do is just something like, I mean, I don't know if this is actually going to let me do this. But we'll just do this kind of thing. We'll just do like a little grid that goes the whole way up here. And we can just make it a dent. You know, maybe this will be like our first block of high density buildings at some point. I don't really know. But we'll just do that, right? And that seems fine. That works. It's not terrible. It's not anything fancy. But it fills in the space, and that's kind of the point. So that can be there. That can exist is what I'm saying. And I think what we'll do for a new residential space is we'll go in here with a new avenue. And what I'm thinking we'll do is we'll use this as our measurement. So let's do that and then disconnect it from here. And then let's go, let's see. Is there a midpoint here? So that's 1740. I don't know how many units that is. It looks like it's 29. Oh, no, it is 29. Okay, so 20 and it's not really going to be a midpoint. Let's just sort of eyeball it then. In fact, no, let's eyeball it. I was going to say we could do it differently. This might be a bad idea. This might be a bad idea, what I'm thinking here. Let's extend this avenue up a little bit to there. Because having the highway connection there is all right, but I don't want to put another avenue in that space. I think an avenue in here is going to be okay, though. So, let's see. What is 20? So that's 20. That's 10. Let's do there. And let's just bring this right out. So I'm thinking right out to there. And I'm thinking this goes the whole way up and connects right under there. And that's something we can build a lot of residential off of. Because if this is going to be sort of our... at least one sort of our city center, sort of an industrial city center, but a city center nonetheless. This could be a really good area for a lot of just residential built off of that space. So what I think we'll do is we will want a lot of space for offices in here. And I'm going to do it this way, where I'm going to leave a gap between all of this so I can do some paths, because we're still going to need industry, right? And we still need to do schools as well. I'm realizing I'm completely neglecting education. So we're going to want to do something about that. But I think what we'll do is we'll do this. And that can be room for some offices at some point. Although I don't... no, that should be fine. That should be okay. And what I think I'll also do is bring a road of trees up to about there. And we'll try and repeat what we did here, right? We have these separate residential areas. We have an avenue going up through the middle, and we kind of have 3 residential spaces coming off that avenue. So this can come down to here. This can go up to the highway as close as it can go. And then what way have we done this? So from about here, we can go up. And from about here, we can go straight under the highway, which is good. And I'm not going to leave as much space around all of this for paths and all that stuff. I just don't think we need it. But I just, I want to fill as much of it as I possibly can. So up to about there is fine. This space in here, I mean, we'll do this, we'll do this. It's not really perfectly laid out for this, but it'll get us some decent residential anyway. So that's kind of the point. That bit can stay open. And then up here is going to be, what have we done that? So that kind of loops around. But I guess what we'll do is just something like, I don't know, can I get that a bit closer? I don't know if I want to do residential right by the highway. I don't know if that's a good idea. I mean, it's probably not, right? You know, would you want to live next to a highway? I mean, you might. I don't know if I'd be a huge fan of that myself, but I'm not gonna say too much because some of you might live next to highways IRL, and I don't want to be like, I don't want to sit here and be like, I'd be terrible. Imagine living next to a highway. Imagine that, and then that's what I'm saying I don't want to do, right? That's what I don't want to do. Anyway, we got this area done, so let's put some paths in there and get some pipes in there and zone it along with that area, I guess, although some of that's going to be offices, so maybe not all of that area, but we'll figure it out. You know, as bad as my traffic management is, I'm quite proud of my pipe work. What I'm saying is I'm quite good at laying pipe. What I might not be so good at is laying out districts, or not laying out districts. I'm very good at laying out districts as well, let's be honest here. But I want to figure out a good balance for zoning on all of this because I'm not really sure what should go where, because obviously we have some industry right in here. Now this bit here is going to be offices, but this bit here I think should be commercial because we want to have a buffer between industry and residential. I always want to have that buffer. And I think what I'm going to do is go around all of this new space and essentially say that all of that space, all of this space will be commercial. I think that's fair enough. I think that's a good way to do it because again, it acts as a pretty decent buffer between the main roads and the residential zoning. Now this space over here will be offices as well, so we're not too worried about that. But then everything in here is just residential. Simple as that. Everything in here is just residential. I might regret putting it so close to some of that stuff there, but I think that'll be okay. I think we can totally make that work. And I'm also thinking that little path there wouldn't hurt either. And I've got a lot of those paths in there. We've got a lot of paths that will hopefully help people get a bite. But I'm hoping that this does some good for us. I'm hoping that road there isn't going to be too much for the game to kind of handle on its own. Because obviously, you know, we aren't doing anything with mods here. I can, at the very least, go into here and I can turn off traffic lights. That is an option we have. In fact, it'd probably be easier to just click that road and say priority road. Although that didn't actually do what I hoped it would do, so never mind. Although if I turn the traffic lights off, it does automatically do the stop signs. So that's kind of what I wanted there. I'm thinking I'm going to do the same here as well. I'm just going to set up stop signs rather than traffic lights on some of these intersections, just because I think it would make more sense. Just to sort of control traffic that way. And I guess from that point, we kind of just want to see what happens here. I'm a little reluctant to run the simulation because I know people are probably going to start building like way out in the middle of nowhere and not have power, but at least they got water because of my incredible pipe laying skills. And just as I say that, people are complaining about water, but fortunately not because of a lack of pipe laying skills on my part. It's actually just because there's not enough of it. So we'll just add another water tower and that should cheer them up a little bit. Sewage is having some trouble as well, so we'll throw another one of these guys into somewhere around here. I'm thinking we clear out this space right here, and we just throw another one of the sewage things into there. We'll just connect it like that, and that should sort all of the sewage trouble that we're having, which it absolutely did. So that puts us in a spot where sewage is fine, water is fine, population is fine. I think this is pretty cool looking, honestly. I really do. I'm really pleased with how this looks. It's just going to be, you know, the real test comes when we throw 50,000 people at it rather than what we have. In fact, the real test is whenever we get 6,500 people, because that's when we start doing high density. That's going to be the real challenge. High density is... It's going to be a challenge, but I'm willing to bet that I will attempt it at the very least.